Technology has brought with it a lot of great benefits, including access to sites like Couple Connection, but also it seems to be bringing up quite a few issues for people. We're seeing on the forum about issues like internet pornography. Do you have anything that you can add to help people who are really trying to work this through?
On the one hand, there can be the person who might be using the internet to access pornographic images, for instance, or chat sites that put him or her in touch with other people. On the other hand, there's also the person who can monitor. So the suspicious spouse can check through websites, can check through the use of the computer, can look through mobile phone text messages and see, and that can stimulate suspicion. A couple has to make a decision about where they stand on the use of sexual images. I won't call them pornographic, because one person's pornography and is another person's eroticism. So really, I think that that's an issue that's always at the heart of a couple relationship. To what extent is fantasy material acceptable? This might be something that a couple can use to help them understand what's good in their sexual relationship. On the other side of it is that there can be suspicion that pulls you to checking up on your partner's behavior, that then puts you in this moral dilemma. How do I explain my suspicion about something that I've gained by subterfuge? So that's a question that I think is always around, of how pressing is it for you? You might have to, if it is, you might have to use it and say, I'm concerned about this. I've discovered it in this way. Which is more important? Finding out the answer to what you're suspicious about and therefore confessing, or keeping it inside because you've transgressed?
Are there certain situations when the use of erotic imagery is unacceptable?
Well, yeah, as a society, we legislate those pretty much. I mean, it's not okay to use images of children. This child pornography is ruled out. Showing pictures of people being harmed is ruled out. People being murdered is ruled out. Snuff movies, that's ruled out. We legislate against that. Short of that, it really depends on the couple's standards. And it's a way in which I think this whole issue is a way in which a couple can know each other better. And first what's acceptable individually, and then what's acceptable as a couple within the relationship is going to vary. And I think we need to know that. The other way in which degree of the use of it is important for a couple is if it's impinging. The use of the internet can grow and grow and grow. And if it's impinging in terms of time, attention, or energy, and drawing those away from the couple, then it's something that is a real issue that needs addressing for that couple.
So it sounds like couples really have to communicate on this issue, but it can sometimes be quite a hard topic to bring up.
Well, again, communication can be on different levels. Some couples really do find it completely impossible to talk about the actual description of what they find okay and erotic. But sometimes it's important to say, at least establish boundaries. So that kind of conversation can be held. I think if it's troubling, you need to talk about it. And you may need some help in talking about it as well. Some help might be gained from going to the site and finding what others have done. Some help might be going to the site and finding if there are articles about that. And some might have to come from other areas.
We've talked about images. What about chats, chat forums and texting?
Okay.
How does that differ?
Well, I think that the way in which that's really potentially dangerous is the way in which it draws energy away and attention and time away from the couple. Sometimes chat lines can be very like forums. You can be getting ideas from other people on the chat line. That way it's not harmful. But if you are using another person as a substitute for something that you would be normally bringing it back into the relationship, then it's probably getting in the way.
It sounds like these might be linked to an underlying problem in a relationship.
When sex ebbs and flows in a relationship, or communication and intimacy begins to get problematic, those are usually fault lines in which people sometimes find a solution to it by going outside the relationship. And the extent to which they go outside the relationship and then get fixed on, for instance, another person that may be a fantasy, another person on a chat line, can be quite dangerous. So it usually, it often says there's some fault line here, that this is being used. It doesn't always. Sometimes, as I say, it can be getting ideas to bring back into the relationship.
I think there's actually an insight, a relationship insight, which people can look at, titled Hidden Issues, that shows some of what those presenting issues might be and what could be underlying.
Yes, that's very helpful, yeah.